What is good, YouTube? My name's Nick. This is a channel that I talk about cars on called Artimotiv. Today I want to have my door closed without me even touching it because I just sat in the car. But anyway, I'm going to talk about two things that I think every owner of a Honda Element, but pretty much any car that I will ever own, will have two very specific modifications. Almost the first things that I do. Not exactly the first, just depends on finances at the time. But I'm going to get into that in this video, so I hope you stick around and I hope you enjoy it. And if you're a Honda Element owner, I'm going to talk about some of the specifics about these accessories that will make your life easier and why I think maybe the OEM choice is not the best choice. Welcome back to the channel to those of you who have seen me before, and if you're new, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. My name's Nick, and this is the channel that I talk about cars on called Artimotiv. And today I'm going to talk about the two things that I do first and foremost almost every time when I get a new car, or the first modifications that I think about when I'm building a car, really. First thing I do is change out the mirrors. Now there's a variety of ways you can do this. You can put in a Broadway mirror, which basically gives you an overlay on the existing rear view mirror in your car. It's going to give you a huge, wide field of vision that's going to allow you to be a little bit safer out there. The other option are some, various aftermarket mirrors that you can replace that'll give you a wider mirror. And again, you're expanding the field of vision to keep yourself a little bit safer, be able to see more of what's going on, and hopefully you can avoid any accident. The other thing that I do along with the Broadway mirror, typically, depending on the vehicle of course, is I'll add in a wide view mirror to the side view mirrors. Now this can vary from car to car. You've probably seen different versions of this. There's circular ones, there's square ones, there's angled ones. There are all sorts of types of versions of this. But for me, it's kind of an added safety feature to make sure that I'm going to see anybody that might be in my blind spot. Now, there's so many versions of this. Like I said, I prefer just a Broadway mirror. It's a Japanese car culture thing, and you can get various versions of it. I prefer the widest I can get. Sometimes that's a little bit big. I'll show you in my Honda Ridgeline here. It's got a massive view, and honestly, it's overkill. But I'd rather see everything going on around me to potentially avoid those things and not lose my car or lose my life or anything worse, I don't know if there's anything worse than losing your life, though. That doesn't make any sense, but let's just keep rolling. The second thing that I think every car owner should have, especially Honda Element owners, is a set of visors for your... My dog is being crazy right now. Mika, get up. What are you doing? Dogs, man. You can't live with them, you can't live without them, or something like that, right? Okay, let's talk about window visors, rain guards, whatever you want to call them. There's a variety of them available. I'm going to talk about two different ones. I installed the Honda OEM visors on my Honda Element. It's a 2008 SC. Wanted to give a little review on how they work, but also talk about some of the things that I think could have been better now that I've had them. There are a ton of different choices when it comes to window visors. With Hondas, with the Element at least, and with most of my experience, they come with these little clips, little screws. You basically screw them, you clip them in, you screw them in. They're fairly tight. They almost never come off. I've never had them come off in 20 plus years of having them on a car. Actually, 30 plus years of having them on a car. Wait, how old am I? The good thing about it is they don't come off. They're very secure. The downside is, for the Honda Element at least, it doesn't cover the rear windows. It's just a single piece per side for the front doors. That's the OEM version. Now you can buy a bunch of different versions that are out there, GT styling and auto vent shade and all these different companies that make these types of things. Now I would suggest doing your own research. I will link to some of these in the description if you want to check them out. But if you're a Honda Element owner that camps in the car specifically, it's really great to be able to open your window and have a little ventilation, because if you're sleeping in the car, you're going to inherently get a bunch of breath and hot air, and it's going to fog up. So you probably want some sort of ventilation, but you might not want ventilation that allows rain to come in and get your things all wet. So the aftermarket versions that are available typically will also have a rear window cover. Now again, the rear window pops out, so you'll have to make sure that it gives you enough room for this to actually work. But the downside to these and to a lot of the aftermarket versions, it's that they're only held on by double stick tape. That can be fine, but over time, obviously that's going to wear down and they become less secure and more prone to losing them on the freeway or something like that. So something to consider. But with the rear windows popped and rain guards over them, or visors over the rear windows, rear door windows on a Honda Element, you can allow air to flow through. So if you're camping in a particularly hot place or a particularly humid place, this allows for air to flow through the vehicle on both sides. I think this is actually something to consider. It's going to be different for everybody's preference and everybody's experiences. I personally do wish I had the rear covers on. We typically put a net over the back window to make sure that we get airflow, but then we leave, it's basically a mosquito net that allows us to open the window, but it's got to go over the entire door. So it's just an inexpensive $5, $10 solution to the car fogging up and not having some sort of, flow through of air in the car while we're camping in it. Would I buy the OEM ones again? Of course, they work great. I haven't had any issues with them. They've been on the car for well over 4 or 5 years now, probably even longer. They've probably been on the car for 5 or 6 years. And how long have I had the Element? Oh man, this is a great question. Anyway, I would definitely suggest the OEM ones. They are built really well. They're not too expensive for the Element, but you can definitely get aftermarket ones for a little bit cheaper. I think I paid about $150 for mine for the OEM ones. You can usually find some version of aftermarket one that includes the rear doors for about $50 to $80. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for and what you specifically are into. You can see some of the clips here of installing the OEM visors, and it's not a very difficult process. It's a little time consuming, and there are some tiny challenges with it, but it's not as easy as just doing the double-sided tape. If you would like me to make a whole video dedicated to just installing those visors, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to do that. But for now, I'll just leave these clips in and wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions, you can always leave a comment here too. But those are the two things that I would absolutely do. If you buy a Honda Element, those are the first two modifications. If the stereo isn't working, or if you are having issues, obviously fix the things you need to fix first. But as far as really truly creature comforts that make using the car even better, I would definitely suggest those two things. Now the Honda Element, you can see very well out of it. It's one of my favorite things is the windows are great. You can see a lot of what's coming at you. You can avoid a lot of things and dangers out there in the world. Maybe not jets flying over, but with the Broadway mirror and blind spot mirrors on the side view mirrors, you can pretty much see everything and anything that is potentially hazardous or coming at you while you're out there enjoying your Element. So that would be my first suggestion. And the second thing is the rain guards or the visors, depending what you want to call them. They are two things that I absolutely love. I love having the airflow, and honestly, it's just a good way to prevent fog on the windows or moisture inside. Those types of things, having that airflow will let you defrost the inside a little bit easier, or depending on where you're at, the opposite of that, cool off without having a bunch of air flowing through, but just enough, just the perfect chef's kiss, Anyway, those are two things that I love and I would suggest for you, but everybody's different. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.